What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Bladen Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're pretty much just going to predict the entire NFL playoffs at this point. We've done all of our division predictions. Now we're going to go through the AFC, go through the NFC, and just give you all of our projected seedings. But before we get into all of that, Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. I'm thinking about going camping tomorrow. So that might be my big interesting thing on the horizon. But I haven't done anything for like a week. I haven't done like anything interesting. I've just done some research and watched some film and made some videos, talked about Felipe Franks, you know.
I know you're feeling good about good about Felipe Franks.
He's trending on Sleeper right now. I think it's so funny. I think thousands of people are adding him to their fantasy team after I made that video. That's up next, millions. But like if 2,000 people added him on Sleeper, I mean that probably means 2,000 people added him on Yahoo and 2,000 people added him on ESPN, right? It's probably not just Sleeper, but yeah, I think that's funny. So that's my goal, is to see how high he can rise on the. He's up to number 12 on the trending list of players on the Sleeper Fantasy app.
Brother,
with 3,400 ads. So I've just been pushing the Felipe Franks narrative to see how many fantasy football teams I can save with his presence.
Yeah, I haven't been doing anything super interesting either. Mostly just work stuff. And I'm thinking about getting a fish. I got the fish tank set up.
Oh,
I'm gonna go get some fish here soon.
Great.
You have saltwater or freshwater?
Freshwater.
Okay.
I don't have the skill.
I've thought
for
about
saltwater.
it. Yeah, I don't think I do either. But I've thought about it. I'm like, there's some pretty cool saltwater tanks out there. I've had freshwater fish like my whole life, though. It's a fun little thing.
We have fish at my house, but I probably won't get fish for myself until I like graduate and like officially move out.
Officially.
You're not responsible enough for them, frankly. So
For a goldfish?
No.
Bladen's the most responsible of the three of us.
Then why are you so scared to get one then, Bladen?
What am I supposed? I'm going to take it to my college apartment and then move out in 8 months and then have to bring it back home. And then where am I going to put it? Because we already have like...
It's too much responsibility for you.
It's not responsibility. It's like, how am I supposed to drive a fish tank home?
Carefully and responsibly.
I don't know. I agree, Bladen.
Like
I think
the
you might...
filters off. Like
what you'd probably have to do is put the fish in a plastic bag like a Nemo and put it in the...
With no filter? Nah, that fish is cooked.
No, it's not. Fish can live in there. You can do that and then put it in the cup holder. It's not like you're driving to, Washington. You're driving from Columbus
to Miami.
But you'd still have to drain the whole fish tank and then set it up again and then fill it back up. Blaine, how are you doing? You got cooked to a degree that I don't think any of us have last night.
But you knew it was coming though, Bladen.
I did. And you guys warned me. You're like, it's like Blade, like you guys didn't like heavily disagree with me. But you were like,
whoa, do not drag me to this.
You guys mostly agreed, honestly, and had the same opinion, right?
Do not drag me into this.
No, you just said that Bladen, people are going to really fucking hate you for saying that Patrick Mahomes is the 32nd best player last year.
It's got 100 quote tweets. Oh, brother.
Oh, it's got like 1,000
comments, man.
To be fair to Bladen, most of those 1,000 comments are like the same two people, the Nick Bolton account and then one other that I can't remember.
I mean, it's like he's going to end up being like, I think he ends up being a QB6, right? It's like Rodgers is going to be ahead of him from last year, which like obviously he won MVP.
Fair.
Brady was an MVP candidate. Josh Allen, and I'm actually going to move. I've been thinking about it. I'm going to move Josh Allen down a little bit.
You're just setting yourself up for more slander there. Look, Allen maybe, but
Allen I think is going to be a little bit closer. I had Allen at a pretty big gap, but I'm going to move him a little bit closer.
Dude, Matthew Stafford is not better than Patrick Mahomes.
He was last year.
You're going to get hit with
last year.
that. No. He led the league in interceptions reply, and you're going to get ratioed by like a solid 100 likes.
Don't care. Like
Burrow was not better than Patrick Mahomes.
Burrow is the main one.
Burrow's the one where I agree with y'all now. Like I put a lot of precedent on like him coming back from injury and like how impressive that was behind that offensive line to then have the best deep passing attack in football. Right. There was just a lot going against him, and I put a lot of weight on that. But like I'm like, yeah, that probably shouldn't have given Burrow, but it's too late to go back on Burrow because I already put Mahomes on. But Burrow comes out very soon.
Mahomes led the number one offense. He led the number one offense in points and yards per drive. He was number one in the league in total EPA, passing EPA.
I mean, he was
top 5 in QBR and DVOA and DYR and just straight up yards.
He was fifth in my. I know this. Like I have my QB efficiency chart. Like I recognize that. Like he was 5th overall in my average efficiency chart. Stafford was 4. I think it was Herbert. Was it Herbert?
Herbert, Rodgers, Brady.
Yeah, it was Herbert,
probably
Rodgers,
above
Brady.
him.
Yeah.
Where did you have Herbert, by the way?
Herbert was just slightly behind Mahomes.
Herbert was also better than Burrow last season, sadly.
Yeah, but I put Burrow too high.
And Matthew Stafford,
maybe. Stafford.
What's the argument for Stafford being? Where do you have him quarterback wise?
I think I had him at like 3 or 4.
What's the argument for Stafford as a top 3 quarterback?
No, just last year, like season, like
right.
top 3 quarterback season last year.
I don't think so.
But like not that he's a top 3 quarterback, right? Those are not the same thing.
Okay, so what's the argument for him having a top 3 quarterback season?
He came into an offense that was honestly not that productive last year and turned it into a Super Bowl caliber offense. That's pretty much it. He had multiple clutch moments in the playoffs against.
You're giving him the Super Bowl bonus, no?
I mean, you have to, right?
You don't. But
is winning a Super Bowl not like part of having a great season?
Are we arguing that's not a team stat? We're doing QB wins.
I mean, that's part of Cooper Kupp, being ranked as high as he is.
I think that Stafford's not the biggest problem I have on the list, but yeah, I think Mahomes should be higher. I agree with the masses. I wouldn't make 200 comments in your replies about
video
it.
Now.
Apology video. No, it's like, yeah, if you're gonna put him higher, I get it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, he was the best quarterback in the NFL. Like he was the best. He had the best quarterback season last year.
I don't think he had the best quarterback season. That's for sure. I think I ranked him as the best quarterback in the league on my list.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback in the league. And that's what I said in my video. I'm like, he is the best quarterback. If I had to start a team with anybody, I'm picking Mahomes. And that's where I think like there's that dichotomy of like, I can't also say that and also put him at 32. So I don't know. I might change the way I do my top 100 next year just to be like just the 100 best players. I thought that would be more complicated, but now that I'm at this point, I'm like, this is so much confusion and it's just not worth it. Anywho, let's talk about our playoff predictions for the 2022-2023 NFL season. Do we want to start with the AFC or NFC? How are we feeling about that? AFC? All right, Matt doesn't want us to bash on the Panthers too early.
I know you guys have them winning the division. So.
All right, so taking a look at the AFC. I think we just start at the bottom, work our way up, start at the 7th seed. Theo, who is your 7th seed in the AFC?
Bengals fans, I have the Bengals. All right. I have the Bengals making the playoffs as a 7th seed here. I think that they'll be around the same caliber as they were last year, regressing in some areas, but getting better in some others. And I think that'll kind of even out with the harder schedule to being about the same. I think the Ravens win this division, as I said in the last episode. But as you'll find, a lot of the things I've said in previous episodes, I have changed my mind on slightly. And this may not be... And I reserve the right to continue to change my mind until my record predictions are all the way through. But
He's going to change his mind until he's right.
I'm going to change my mind until I'm right. But I do have the Bengals as the 7th seed. I think that they'll hover around 9-10 wins. I don't think that the AFC, I don't even think it's possible to have like the AFC be like 12 wins all the way down the bracket. I do think that like 10 wins will probably be about where the 7th seed is at. And I think there'll be a big pile up near that 10 win mark. But I think as far as complete teams go, when you look at like some teams that I have missing it, like the Raiders secondary and things like that, I think the Bengals are pretty well rounded. And
fair enough.
Yeah.
I also have the Bengals as the 7th seed. So, like, they're a good team. Burrow's fantastic. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, but probably the best receiving core in football. You know, I like it. Matt,
I have the Broncos as the 7th seed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, their defense was pretty great last year, and adding Wilson. This is a little bit coming down to just like I think they'll be a 10-win team, and they'll need the tiebreakers. Maybe those won't favor them because they play in such a hard division, but I figure I'd go ahead and give them the nod. I believe in Wilson enough to get them there.
Where do you have the Bengals, Matt?
6.
Okay, so right above there.
I do not think that I think the Broncos defense might be their downfall this year. That's kind of my take and why I had them missing it. I think last year they faced the fewest drives in football. They had 162 drives they faced as the defense because Teddy Bridgewater was so methodical and Vic Fangio was kind of concerned. Like, their offense held the ball a lot, and they also had a pretty easy schedule last year. Like, their defense was 3rd in points allowed last year, which is obviously fantastic. But this year, like, that front seven is really like they're getting hyped. Broncos fans are getting hyped over like Baron Browning off the edge or Nick Bonito off the edge. It's like Nick Bonito weighs 240 pounds and Baron Browning is an off-ball linebacker convert. Bradley Chubb's had 8.5 sacks over the last 3 years, and Randy Gregory's career high in sacks is 6. Those are your edge rushers. And like, there's definitely some gray areas to what I just said with like pressure rates, and Bradley Chubb's been hurt, but I don't have the Broncos making the playoffs because I don't love Hackett and I don't love their defense. And they've got Dom Capers. They've got a first-time defensive coordinator as their defensive coordinator, and they're like, he's going to need some assistance. He's going to need some help because he's never done this before. They hired Dom Capers, bro, the old Packers defensive coordinator. He reeks, dude. He's terrible. He sold so many Super Bowl caliber teams. I'll never forgive Dom Capers. So I argue that they will miss.
I think a lot of your points are valid. I think you don't like Hackett because of like the hug it out thing. And
everything he does that so much. He's like talking. He's like in meeting. He reminds me of the anti-Joe Judge, where Joe Judge was like too hard. And I'm like, players aren't going to respect this guy because he's like just such a over the top hard ass. Nathaniel Hackett is too nice. He's too nice to be a head coach. He needs to go be a middle school.
Seems like a girl rejecting a guy. It's like, oh, you're just too nice.
I like bad boys as my coach. Look, you can't be this nice, dude. You go be a middle school guidance teacher. You go a guidance counselor. That's his personality.
Okay. I also have the Broncos missing the playoffs, and it's not even about I am a little worried about like the transition for Russell Wilson right away, and then obviously playing within that division is going to be really tough. You know, you have Herbert, who's finally coming into his, not even finally coming into his own. He was fantastic last year, and he's probably going to even keep getting better. Obviously, you have Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the NFL, and then you have Derek Carr, who's teaming up with like his college buddy and maybe the best receiver in football. So I worry a little bit about like, you get a quarterback in there who doesn't have anybody that he's familiar with or used to that, could be a little bit rough in that division. So the Broncos were my 8 first team out, but they could still be good. It's tough.
Matt, would you make your team hug it out if you were a head ball coach?
Probably not. But I also don't think it's the end of the world, and I think it's a little funny.
It's not the end of it is funny, and it's probably not the end of the world. I don't know. I just don't.
Pete Carroll was great for many years. He's not like the most normal dude in the world.
No, No, he's not. Pete Carroll
Name
is a
one
little
team.
optimistic.
You say, oh, Nathaniel Hackett, he's a little corny, right?
Yeah.
Him and Russ, great fit.
But for every like real person on that team, like they're just not. Russell Wilson is not a real person, dude. You've got to be looking at those two and being like, what is going on here? This is like
Mr. Unlimited.
Fair enough. Maybe it'll be the Patriots as my first start. I don't feel too deeply strongly about the Broncos.
But no, I mean,
but I think they'll be in that conversation.
They will be. The offense. Russ is still a good player. That's kind of what it comes down to. And the offense is Javonte is good, and
Javonte is so good.
Cortland is good. Judy might be good.
6 seed.
6 seed. I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Because you hate Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, because he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. I'd rather have Drew Lock. Yeah, as I've made very clear on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram. No, I mean, the loss of Tyreek Hill is going to hurt them a little bit. But I still have some faith in that receiving core to, create, I think, at different levels, right? I think Juju might have a little bit of a resurgence. Travis Kelce's obviously, arguably the best tight end in football. So they're still going to be able to create stuff underneath. I worry about their defense. I really worry about their defense. Theo, I know you're worried about Denver's defense. I am terrified of what could happen to Kansas City, especially with their corners. If they have to go man up on anyone, I don't trust anyone to really get that done. Outside of Chris Jones, I don't really know who they have on their defensive line. So, yeah, they're still going to be a good team. They have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and they have a great coach. So they're still going to be able to get shit done. But I don't know if they're going to be like winning that division.
Right. I see that.
I don't know. Where do you guys have what are your thoughts on the Chiefs?
I've got the Chiefs in the playoffs. I ended that, but they're not the 6 seed. They're the 5 seed. The 6 seed, okay. I've done a little bit of a heel turn. I've got the Colts. I've got the Colts as the 6 seed. I think as far as like well-rounded teams, every single unit, offensive line, skill position, quarterback, front seven, secondary, they're pretty good in all of those places, in my opinion. And when you look at what they were last year, I've had a lot of Wentz defenders say that Wentz was not that bad last year, but literally Wentz was being protected so much and not asked to do quite literally like anything in terms of putting the team on his back and carrying them to a win. And whenever he did have to do that, he really didn't get it done. No. So the fact they were 1 game away from the playoffs last year and added Matt Ryan, who is someone that it reminds me of like kind of an upgraded version of the Phillip Rivers Colts from a couple years ago, who didn't have a running back like Jonathan Taylor. They were in the playoffs and gave a Bills team like a pretty good run for their money, even though it was the 2020 Bills, who are pretty damn good. So I think that they're going to be competitive. I think they're very well coached. They're going to have one of the best creative rush attacks in football. And I think their passing attack can be above average as well. And then on the defensive side, I think the edge rushing duo of Yannick Ngakoue and Kwity Paye could be pretty solid with DeForest Buckner in the middle. You've got Darius Leonard. You've got Stephon Gilmore, who I still think has things in the tank, and Kenny Moore, who's one of the better nickel corners in football. Like I said in the Colts episode that I worry about their big playability and like where the explosive is going to come from. But, I like what I've seen from Alec Pierce is an explosive wide receiver. I mean, he ran a 4.3. He's a great contested catch artist. Maybe Matt Ryan isn't going to scramble outside the pocket and hit a 50-yard pass anymore. But he's still good enough to pick up, these 30-yard chunk plays. And I think they've got receivers in Pittman and Pierce who can catch those balls. So I think that they're going to be fine.
Jonathan Taylor had some of the most explosive runs.
And they've got Jonathan Taylor, and Quentin Nelson should be healthier this year, and the offensive line in general wasn't. I
like them a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I still love the Titans, and I think they're getting slept on right now. But in terms of the most complete,
on the Titans.
Me too.
In terms of the most complete teams in the AFC, I think the Colts are in that discussion, and they've got an easier division than I think most, and that's who I've got as the 5 seed now.
I have the Colts winning the division.
Me too.
Yeah, I know you. I don't think you guys even have the Titans in the playoffs. No,
I probably should have put them at 7, but yeah.
I could argue putting them at 7. I think they're going to be about as good as Denver, though.
Yeah, I get it.
That's about where I'd put them.
Yeah.
At 6, I had the Bengals. I think you guys are too low on them. The Bengals are closer to winning the division than they are to being the 7th seed, in my opinion.
You have them as a 6th seed.
Yeah, I mean, but that's below the Chiefs, and I would say they're right there with the Ravens to be higher. So
fair.
It's not necessarily like that. I think
know.
that most of the arguments I've heard against the Bengals are just regression to the mean. But I don't actually. I think that the roster is overall pretty complete. The offense is amazing on paper. We talked about this before. The offense is amazing on paper. I think them having a ton of are they going to have as many as last year? Maybe not. Are they going to have a ton? Absolutely, yeah. The offense is built to go get explosives. So with that, and I think the defense is still pretty great, and they brought most people back. I feel good about them again.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the health factor. Everyone's staying healthy last year, and it's not. That I'm not going to. I get it. Like, you don't want to predict injury.
It's not a real argument to me.
Like, you don't predict injury, but like they have Joe Mixon staying healthy. How often does that happen?
When you go to the blackjack table and they show you that little screen and it's got not the blackjack table, the roulette table, and it's got 3 blacks in a row. Do you say, well, regression to the mean, I should pick red here? No, it makes no difference. Them staying healthy last year does not affect them staying healthy this next year. And yeah, you would expect things to balance out, but having a year where you're really healthy that's already done. You don't need that break anymore. So just within a season itself, I wouldn't say that they're any more likely to get injured than any other team.
I wouldn't say they're more likely to get injured than any other team, but I would say if there's a team that's at the top of the league and least games missed, I think it's kind of random every year. And if they're first of 32 and it's random, the chances are they'll be lower than first of 32 the next year. But again, it's difficult to say when you're making projections where it's Burrow will get hurt, so they won't win.
Right.
It's a little bit rough in that way. So I think there's got to be, I would say you could worry about it if you really didn't trust the offensive line. Like Burrow can't take 70 sacks again and stay healthy. But are you going to project him taking 70 sacks again behind that offensive line anymore? So yeah. So I don't know. The injury facet, they were fortunate to have most of their key pieces stay healthy for most of last year. And maybe they suffer an injury this year, and maybe they're not as lucky as they were last year. And I don't anticipate them getting the breaks they did last year. But yeah,
It could happen, but it could also not. It's just, I mean, we're not saying that for any other team. And yeah, the Bengals got really lucky injury prone wise, but they're also a much better team now. They had it's amazing how far they made it with how bad their offensive line was. And now their offensive line isn't as bad.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have them as a 7 seed. I think that the harder schedule and maybe and Daxton Hill, I like their draft too. I like their draft with all the secondary players that they added.
I agree.
So yeah, I think that they could definitely win this division. You've got them as a 6 seed. I've got them as the 7 seed, but you've got them as a strong 6 instead of maybe a light 7, a little Anthony Fantano reference where it's
he still hasn't reviewed
6.
my album. Waiting for that strong 10 to come in.
It's a tough pull.
It is. No.
Well, I'll say as my 5 seed, I have the Chiefs. I don't have a ton to say about that. I just believe in the Mahomes.
Okay.
I also have the Chiefs.
More. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm at about the same place. They've got the good offensive line. They've got the best quarterback in football, and the receiving core isn't totally
I actually think they'll be all right.
Yeah.
I kind of think Juju's going to do pretty good, and I kind of think Sky Moore is going to be really good. So
Sky Moore has looked really good in camp.
I don't know.
So yeah,
we'll see about their running game.
My 5 seed is the Raiders. I think the Raiders offense is going to be super elite. I think it's going to be one of the best offenses in football. That receiving core, of Devontae, Waller, and Renfro is terrifying. And Josh Jacobs is a really good runner. Their offensive line might be a little bit questionable, but I love Colton Miller. He's an elite tackle. Derek Carr, I think, is a phenomenal quarterback. So even if the defense isn't up to par, which I think, Chandler Jones and Max Crosby can be an elite pass rushing duo, that offense to me is probably top 5 in the league.
I really want them to add Will Fuller. That would that would totally complete it, because again, you've got Adams there, and you've got Waller as the Y, and then you've got Renfro in the slot. Who is that second outside receiver? That's they don't have anyone there right now. And there was someone who did pretty good in the Hall of Fame game that could contend for it.
I mean, shoot, there was
what was his name? He was number 1 or something. He was a single digit swag guy. But anyway, that's I would love to see them add Fuller and just kind of or Deshaun Jackson back, or just some sort of speedy dude that isn't Demarcus Robinson or some guy who's balling out.
They do have Keelan Cole.
My boy.
Keelan Cole always has just a random big play.
He'll have the catch of the year at some point this season, and then you'll never hear from him again. I love Keelan Cole.
Everyone loves Keelan Cole. But that number 1 is Tyron Johnson.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So maybe he impressed me in the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, but I have the Raiders at 5. So I assume you guys have them missing the playoffs then.
Yeah, barely.
I fear
heartbroken.
But I could see it.
I could see it too. I really do like the offense. I really do. And the pass rushing duo. And if you can have a good pass rush and a good passing game, you're already 70% of the way there. So that's kind of where I'm at. But
I'm just hoping the secondary doesn't just kill them. That's what I'm really hoping for. But I love their offense so much. And Theo, who was you? Oh, yours is the Chiefs too.
Mine is also the Chiefs. Yes.
Okay. So that brings us to the division winners, the 4 seed. I have the Colts.
I have the Colts.
Nice. Yeah.
I have the Ravens.
Okay.
I have the Ravens.
I think we've already talked a little bit about the Colts. Quentin Nelson healthy, Jonathan Taylor coming off, offensive player of the year caliber season. Matt Ryan's an upgrade from Carson Wentz. They can be the good defense. There's nothing really else to say. They're just going to be a good team. The Ravens I actually have as a 3 seed.
Same. Who do you have as your 2 seed, buddy?
Chargers.
Nice. 4-4, same picks.
Let's go.
You knew I was picking the Bills as the 1 seed, man.
You have to. Adding Von Miller, I think, is really the cherry on top that pushes them over the edge. And then Kyra Lam, I loved him coming out of the draft.
Are we talking about the 1 seed or the 4 seed?
Who are you? Let's just do all the division winners then, since we did that. Who's your division winners?
Mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 1 seed is the Chargers.
Yeah.
2 seed is the Bills.
Yeah.
Titans is the 3 seed. Ravens is the 4.
Okay.
Those are my division winners, and I like it. I think it's a little bit quirked up as a prediction, and it's not quite.
A little bit quirky. Well, there's nothing
it's
wrong with
a little bit quirky. Yeah, no, it's going to be. There's going to be some weird shit that happens, and I think you got
the sheep here. And you're the alpha lone wolf who has the Titans as the 3 seed.
Even though, so the Titans is the 3 seed. And the Titans is the one I've got to back up because other people aren't high on them. Look, they totally proved me wrong last year. They were a team that I thought would be like the Vikings of the past couple of years, where they've got some stars in some areas with Julio and AJ Brown and Derrick Henry, whereas the Vikings had Jefferson and Thielen and Dalvin Cook. And then on the defense, the Vikings have Neil Hunter. The Titans have Jeffrey Simmons. The Vikings, but they're not quite well-rounded enough. And they're also Arthur Smith left and Stefanski left the Vikings. I'm there's so many parallels. They're just going to be a talented team that just cannot quite scrape together the games. But despite the fact that they even though the Titans lost all of their stars, they still were one of the worst 1 seeds ever. But they were still a pretty good team. So this year, the same thing that I'm projecting for the Ravens, where the Ravens are getting a bunch of guys back from injury. Oh, they'll be a better team. People aren't giving that to the Titans. And I get that they lost AJ Brown. But I think that Treylon Burks is going to be a pretty good rookie right away. I really do. I think that he has been slandered because of his asthma or whatever he's got, his conditioning at rookie minicamp. But I haven't heard anything like that from the training camp practices. And all I've seen is him just torching these, like Roger McCreary, like multiple times, who I think is a good corner. I think they're going to be able to implement him in a lot of creative ways, get him the ball in the backfield, screen game. And he's just so big, strong, and fast that he can kind of be that Debo. He can kind of be that AJ Brown replacement. Kyle Phillips is another rookie they have. He's just going to be the next great slot wide receiver. Like, I'm just so confident that he's going to have a 12-year career. I see his footwork.
I have a friend that's a Titans fan, and he texted me like 2 days ago, and he was like, bro, I'm telling you, Kyle Phillips is him.
Yeah, Kyle Phillips, I had like a 3rd-round grade on him or something like that. Like, Kyle Phillips is just an easy projection for a great slot wide receiver. He's just got that footwork. He's got those hands. The Patriots are sick they didn't get him. You know what I mean? And Robert Woods, I think Robert Woods can still be a really nice player for you. His drop rate is one of the lowest of all time. He can come in and block. He can pick up yards after the catch. He's like a good solid wide receiver. So I'm not actually all that concerned about the wide receiving core. And then I think their secondary is pretty high level. And I think their pass rush is going to be good with Jeffrey Simmons, and Dupree and Harold Landry off the edge are, not a great duo, but
no alphas,
yeah, like Jeffrey Simmons is the alpha there.
Well,
with like
I meant like off the edge.
Yeah, off the edge, and then you've got some like speed demons off the edge. Like, I think it's going to be a high level defense. I think the offense is going to be efficient as usual, with all their guys back. And
I can see it. I probably should have had them as a 7 seed. I'll give you that much.
Yeah.
Has Jamarco Jones been starting for them on the offensive line? Do you guys have
offensive line is an issue, and it was not very good last year, and it still may not be that great. That's a problem. And if Derrick Henry
Jones slander, come on, man.
Well, I mean, you look at like every team in the AFC is like seems to be really good up front defensively. Like all of these teams that we're predicting to be playoff teams, right? The Bills, right, have Von Miller, and if you're expecting Greg Rousseau to take a leap, Chargers added Khalil Mack next to Bosa. The Ravens love to blitz. They love to blitz, and they have Calais.
His schedule is not a cakewalk, man.
Yeah.
They got a lot of tough games on here. I mean, they've got their freebies against, well, not freebies, but they've got some, teams that are not going to be too great this year, Jaguars, Texans. But outside of that, dude, and they got the Giants week 1.
And stuff. I would say that I understand the reason why it's not just as simple as they were the 1 seed while they were injured. They'll be good next year.
Because like the Ravens were injured last year, and like now they'll be healthy. Yeah, I look at like the game against the Bengals in the playoffs, and I'm like, if I'm picking between the Bengals that got better or the Titans to be a 7 seed, I'm picking the Bengals.
The Titans' offensive line scares me. That's what I'll say. But again, it scared me last year, and they still were able to kind of pull through. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe I should have them as the 4 and the Ravens as the 3, but I don't know. I'm in on the Titans again after they made me look silly last year. It's the least I can do.
Theo's always about not having fan bases down his throat again.
Hey, yo, pause.
Nah.
And then Bills 2, Chargers 1, which I've been over. I think that they're the most stacked on paper.
Yeah. I don't hate that either. You want to go to the NFC then?
Well, before we go to the NFC,
Run Your Pool is the home of competition, bringing sports fan and their social circles closer together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. Run Your Pool offers every game type under the sun, from Pick'em and Survivor to fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gaming with customizable features that you don't get anywhere else. But that's not all. We've teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for us, Stay Hot, and our listeners. For an opportunity to compete against us, Stay Hot, it's simple. Join the pool via the link in the description of this video, if you're listening to the YouTube, or at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. That's play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Sign up and make your picks. But why not make it interesting, right? Run Your Pool will be giving out cash prizes to the winner. So if you manage to beat us, you won't walk away empty-handed. So make sure to join today at play.runyourpool.com/stayhot. Again, that's play.runyourpool.com/stayhot, or just check the link in the description.
NFC. All right. 7 seed. I have the Minnesota Vikings. Justin Jefferson is so good. He's so good. And
Yeah.
he alone will make the Vikings a playoff team. No. No, I do just like the Vikings team. They always seem to just be this, like Theo said, they're always just this randomly, like, kind of competitive, super talented team. And every once in a while they make a little bit of a run. So I think this year they could be a 7 seed. Maybe they get a playoff win here or there, but yeah,
I think they're Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, you have them winning the division.
I do.
That is your most egregious I'm either right or I'm happy take of all time.
Maybe.
Definitely.
I mean,
They're not better than the Packers.
Are they not?
They're not.
Do they have they have a better wide receiving core. They have better skill positions. They have a better pass rush duo in Za'Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter. They've got Eric Kendricks. The secondary is not as good, and the offensive line isn't as good, but I would say, like, until Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins come back, it's about the same. Like, the Packers' offensive line is no good. But overall, like, I think the Vikings' offense is going to be more efficient than the Packers' offense. I will say that. And I think their schedule is a bit easier. And I think, like, overall, their defense, if they can stay healthy and they've got some injury-prone guys, is going to be pretty high level as well. But anyway, this is not me. My 7 seed is the Saints. That's
my 7 seed as well. They're going to be good.
Okay. They are going to be good.
In fact,
we're talking about defenses. I mean, it's still they lost Marcus Williams and it hurts, but we got Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May and Davenport and Peyton Turner and Onyemata and Demario Davis. All of those are Marshawn Lattimore, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Those are all very solid players. Yeah.
That team is also, I think they're like way closer to winning that division than people think. If it wasn't the Buccaneers, that would be my like nice little sleeper pick, but I'm not going to do that against the Buccaneers. But it's not impossible. They've got the Buccaneers numbers. They could get the tiebreaker. I don't know, dude. It's super possible. I just don't quite have the guts to pick it. But yes, I have the Saints making it.
The Saints are my first team out.
I disagree with that.
And then the Cardinals are my second team out. But
didn't you have the Cardinals in the playoffs? You told me you did before the recording.
No, I said
you liar.
I had the Cardinals at my 8 and the Saints at my 9, but I switched it.
Oh, those were the ones.
The 9 seed for the Saints.
Yeah.
I
said I switched it to make them the 8 seed.
That doesn't make any Saints fans feel better.
I know.
Sorry,
Saints fans.
What aspect of the Saints do you not like? What do you think will be their downfall? Literally,
it's not even about like their downfall, but like,
don't get me wrong. The Saints are perfect with no flaws. I just think
it's not that they have like no flaws. It's like, okay, how good do you think Jameis is going to be? Right,
really good.
Good. I think he's going to have a redemption tour. He's not going to be the next Peyton, though. I got so much hate for that. I said someone who was like, Jameis Winston is the next Peyton Manning, and I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And people were like, oh, another Jameis hater. What? How high are you guys on Jameis? I like Jameis Winston.
Okay, so that's what okay.
I like some of the Jameis songs, but.
No,
what does he know about 5 MVPs?
The problem is like, okay, I think people talk about how good the AFC is. I think the NFC has a lot of really good teams. Where I do
too. I do think the NFC is like.
So that's what I'm like. It's not that the Saints I think have like any glaring flaws. I'm just like, I don't know if they're good enough to take down. Like if they're not winning their division, I don't know if they can take down some of these other teams in the NFC. Like that's all I'm at.
I don't know. I think they've got 4 freebies on their schedule, and the Buccaneers is a tough team, and they've got their number. I think their defense is stacked. I think they're a well-coached team.
Even with Sean Payton gone, they promoted one of the best defensive coordinators
it's like
in
an
football,
organizational thing.
It is. And I think Michael Thomas, too, is going to be back, and he's going to be good. People have just completely written him off as this wild card. He's back practicing, man, and he was good in 2020. If you take a look at like his 17-game pace off of just what he was doing in 2020, it's like 1,200 yards. It's not nothing. It wasn't. He was playing at a high level in 2020, injured during the short stretch that he did play, and it's like Taysom Hill for most of it. I think people are severely discounting and underrating the receiving duo.
So what seed do you
Thomas
have the Saints at?
7. Okay. I do think that Jameis maybe is not going to be an elite quarterback. So I think that could cap their potential just a little bit, but it's still, I don't know, like,
dude. I think I might move them higher. I really think maybe the Saints are like actually the super sleeper team this year. I don't see that. I don't see the major flaw with them. They're weak. If their weak point is Jameis at quarterback, that's pretty insane.
We've got Penning at left tackle, Cesar Ruiz at right guard.
Wait, is Penning starting?
Well, you would think so, but he'll get ejected from most games. So really, it's not too big.
He's either going to be generation. He's going to be either generational or generational.
I don't know. The Saints will be. I'll keep them. They're a playoff team though. They're making the playoffs.
My 6th seed is the Dallas Cowboys.
I also have the Cowboys as the 6th seed.
Yeah,
I also have the Cowboys as the 6th seed. So
how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? I like Dak Prescott a lot. I think he gets too much hate sometimes. Like the Hurdles Instagram post of the different variations of Kirk Cousins. They had Dak Prescott on there. Dak is better than Kirk Cousins.
I agree.
I like Dak. I think Zeke is going to have a bit of a resurgent season, and Tony Pollard is still very good. Zach Martin and Tyron Smith are fantastic offensive line pieces. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is going to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. I think Trayvon Diggs is still going to be good. Micah Parsons is a defensive player of the year caliber player. They just have so many good pieces. I'm like, there's no way this isn't a playoff team.
I think that I like their coordinators. I like Dan Quinn a lot. He's overseen a lot of good defenses in his life, and last year was no different. DeMarcus Lawrence, healthy for a full season, should help kind of discount some of the losses that they had on defense. Micah Parsons, don't think that he's going to be bad. I'll say that.
Nope.
I think Barr was a decent pickup for them at this point, and I do worry a little bit about Trayvon Diggs and their secondary in general. Although Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown weren't completely trash last year, so the defense should be okay. Maybe not quite the lead the league in turnovers type of good last year.
No.
And then Dak is an underrated player, man. I mean, if I told you last year this quarterback led the number 1 scoring offense, was top 5 in most efficiency stats, set their team's franchise record in touchdowns, and led them to a 12-win season, you'd probably say, oh, that was Burrow, that was Herbert, that was Mahomes.
Right.
It was Dak. Dak did all those things last year. He led the number 1 scoring offense. He set the record in passing touchdowns. He got him to 12 and 5 or whatever it was. It was a great season from Dak, and yet people have moved him down quarterback lists below guys like Burrow and Kyler and some of these other guys where I still think I would put them slightly above there, although I think they're all in the same tier. But I like the Cowboys offense. I wish they had a little bit more of a satisfying answer to Amari Cooper's departure, but I mean, we'll see with Jalen Tolbert. I'm high on CD, but
who was the guy they brought in from like the USFL?
He's the same. Does it matter?
Listen, man. Apparently, I want some of his. That dude is shifty as fuck.
God bless him.
God bless him. Kevontae Turpin,
man. That dude,
he's not exactly what I would call
replacement.
Not an Amari Cooper replacement. I'm just saying, like, as far as like you got another gadget guy you can get to get the ball to.
He's a gadget guy. How tall is he? 5'7"? Get out of here.
Jeez.
You added discount Rondale Moore. No way. 5'7". I'm so out on any 5'7" receiver. You would never see me drafting Rondale Moore.
Atwell slander.
Tutu Atwell.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm not interested.
What have
Get
we
out of here.
become?
5'7". Not doing anything. 5'7" USFL player. Get out of here.
So we all have the Cowboys as the 6th seed, though.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That makes me happy. The 5 seed is going to be the LA Rams.
I have the Packers.
Right. I have the Rams.
W. Matt and I are going to have the same predictions again.
I think so. Maybe not. Definitely not. It'll you have as your 1 seed.
We'll see. Yeah. So the Rams, Stafford, you guys already know.
So you either have the Rams or the 49ers missing the playoffs.
Me?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do have one of those two teams missing the playoffs. We'll get to it. I'll reveal it when I say my 2nd seed.
Well, I have one of them as the 1 seed, so.
Uh-oh. I don't think you have the one that I have in the playoffs as your 1 seed.
That doesn't sound like it.
All right. So you guys already know how I feel about Stafford. I think he's an absolutely phenomenal elite quarterback. Cooper Kupp's coming off Triple Crown, best receiving season, in the NFL.
Wait. You have the Rams
as the 5.
Matt, you have the Rams as the 5.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Never mind.
All right. Cooper Kupp, one of the best receiving seasons ever. Cam Akers has apparently looked good in camp, which, I was a little worried about him. But if, he's coming back and is going to be fully healthy, that's really exciting. Losing Odell hurts, but Allen Robinson can be a good addition for them on offense. They have a pretty good offensive line. Maybe the offensive line's not as good as like some other teams, but it's still pretty good. And then obviously they have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey on defense, who are, maybe 2 of the best defensive players in all of football. Right. I mean, Theo, I want to know.
I don't have the Rams in the playoffs.
Oh, brother.
I don't. Stafford's tendinitis in his elbow scares me. They're talking about it as a potential baseball injury. Like, that's a question that's been asked.
I'm like, thrower's arm.
Is this like tendon? Like, is this tendinitis? Is he going to need like Tommy John surgery or something? I don't know. It worries me. It really does that he's being held out of team drills, and he's saying that he's fine, but like clearly he's not fine, because if he was fine, no one would be talking about this, right? So,
right.
It concerns me that could see a arm fatigued Stafford this year with just a weird, mysterious injury already. And maybe I'm just overreacting, but it makes me cautious.
I think that's valid logic. I guess I'm not ready to put him out of the playoffs for that, but I could definitely see a world where if Stafford's arm is all messed up, they don't make it.
Yeah.
Or at least like they start off the season slow. Right.
Yeah, and or end the season slow as like maybe he gets he's at his best right now, and then as you spend the entire season throwing it gets worse. So, I just don't know what to make of that news, and it worries me. I don't hear that news very often, that there's just like this mysterious injury. The offensive line is like not that good in my opinion.
Maybe that's why I was like, maybe. But
and the running game is questionable to me. Like, you saw what they were in the Super Bowl. I mean, they couldn't do shit, and we've got that for a whole season. And maybe Cam Akers is just what he was his rookie year, but what he was his rookie year was not like crazy, and that was behind a better offensive line than they have now. So the running game worries me. Stafford's elbow injury worries me. The front 7 worries me. Like, who is their best edge rusher now that Vaughn is gone? Right? They got guys who combined for less sacks than Von Miller had after he joined the season. So that worries me a little bit. You've got Jalen Ramsey, and the cornerback next to him doesn't quite speak to me. They brought
Troy Hill back in the slot, but
doesn't move me, sadly. It's just kind of a stars and scrubs roster. Like, you've got You've got
The
David
guys at
Long
the top
Jr.
are really good.
I think that's kind of the Rams thing.
Yeah, and it was last year, but it's even more so this year and people are like, oh, how do they keep signing all these guys? I get that they got Allen Robinson. I get it.
I think,
and yeah, but it's like Vaughn is gone and he wasn't replaced, and Odell is gone and he was replaced, I suppose. Whitworth is gone, but he wasn't replaced.
Yeah,
there are some good players here.
Loss.
Darius Williams is gone, and he wasn't really, I think,
but like
suitably.
they had,
I don't know.
Who's another guy? Havenstein.
Yes, one lineman. Like the rest of them are all like, eh. I just don't think that their running game is. And then if it all falls on Stafford with his arm like injury, potentially,
he's gonna have to throw 700 times. Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's a very valid worry. I guess I made my pick not thinking about that, but I could totally see.
Yeah.
That world.
Every year something crazy is going to happen. Okay, every year some team that everyone had in the playoffs is going to miss it. Right? You just got to guess, and you can guess like it probably will be someone else that isn't the Rams. Right? It could be any of the teams.
Yeah.
But one of them is going to have problems. And with the Rams, like I could see it maybe being tougher sledding with them of all the like high level teams. If there's a shock this year, like a big surprise, the Rams missing the playoffs, I think could be the one I'm projecting.
It's like the Rams miss and the Saints make. Those would be the two like crazy things to happen. Yeah, I could see it. If Stafford,
but really I think I agree with some of that stuff to a lesser extent, which is why I got to send them at 5.
Yeah.
Like they got worse. Like I'm not gonna have them be the 1 seed. So
right.
All right.
Who's my actual 5 seed?
Who was your 5 seed?
What do you mean your actual 5 seed?
I said the Packers.
Oh,
I think Romeo Doubs could be our best wide receiver, man. Like I'm concerned about the receiving core. I really am. The offensive line has been just getting their ass kicked every day in the team practices and
defense
camp.
is just so good, man.
Yeah, and our best offensive line is like we got like Josh Myers out there right now, and Josh Nijman and Billy Turner left. So I don't even know who. It's bad right now. Like Elton Jenkins might be on the physically unable to perform list. David Bakhtiari's had the world's longest ACL injury. This offensive line could actually be trash to start the year, like legitimately be horrible. So like that offense, I just don't like it for like the first month of the season. So that's where I think the Vikings can kind of make up some ground. And that's where like, I think the Packers will figure it out. I think they have a pretty easy schedule and a great defense. As compared to like what it could be playing the AFC East and the rest of the NFC North, the Lions and the Bears. There's some winnable games on there for sure, but I have them as a wild card round. I'm just not high on their offense to start the year. I think it could be kind of frustrating. So that's where I'm at.
Very fair.
Going to
4
division
seeds.
winners?
Yeah,
just want to list them.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like I've talked a lot. You guys go.
My division winners are the Packers at the 4 seed, the Bucks at the 3 seed, the Eagles at the 2 seed, and the 49ers are the 1 seed.
I've got Eagles, Packers, Bucks, 49ers from 4 to 1.
Okay. Okay. Theo, I agree with you to an extent. Like the offense of Green Bay, I think is what's holding them back from being like a top 2 seed, right, in the NFC. But I still think their defense is going to be good enough, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be good enough that they're still going to probably win their division. The Bucks, Tom Brady. I mean, until he shows signs of aging, I'm going to assume that he has like clones in the back rooms that he keeps bringing out to like win Super Bowls. I don't know what's going on there, but they're still a fantastic team. Mike Evans is a phenomenal receiver. Godwin's going to be healthy. So I really like what they have going on there defensively. They're still very good. The Eagles I think have maybe one of the best rosters in the entire NFL. Arguably the best offensive line in football coming off a season which they had the most dominant rushing attack. Jalen Hurts, was a phenomenal part of that rushing attack. And as I've always said, Jalen Hurts only gets better if he can improve as a passer. That passing attack is going to be significantly elevated. And then their defense, I think, is really, really good. Darius Slay is phenomenal. They have a really strong front seven, or at least a front four.
You are Darius Slay's strongest soldier.
I love Darius Slay. Big play Slay is him.
I really don't hate the Eagles take.
I don't either.
I think the Eagles are going to be really good. Like legit.
They're a super team with kind of a question mark at quarterback, in my opinion. Like,
no, I mean, they're literally the 49ers, but people are higher on Trey Lance.
If they had someone I was just a little bit more confident, like even if it was like a Winston, dude, I would be picking that team to do.
If Tannehill was on the Eagles right now, I would definitely be like okay, on that.
But there's definitely a world where Hurts continues to grow, and it's like, man,
right? Exactly. But apparently it's very rare that you hear bad news out of training camp. The 49ers are like, some of the Lance, the offense stuff is not been great. And some of the stuff out of Eagles camp hasn't been great, but I'll never trust that again because
training camp, I don't buy into training camp stuff. People just got to talk about something.
Yeah. Right.
I agree.
It's all your own players. You have one person has to win, one person has to lose.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not worried about anything I hear out of camp. I saw how good they were last year. They added AJ Brown, who's phenomenal. They added Jordan Davis up front. Like
James Bradbury, Kaiser White, which I think was an underrated pickup for them because their linebackers were so bad last year, and Kaiser White was nice.
Who, they're nice. I'm just like,
they're nice. I think they could make a move for someone like Kareem Hunt or some other running back around the league as well.
You tweeted, like, if I'm the Brown, like, if the Eagles call about Kareem Hunt, I'm answering the fucking phone.
Well, Kareem Hunt is about to do what is about to be the least successful hold-in of all time. Like, the Browns do not need you. All right. I do not think that this is going to work out well for him.
Many would say he's not even the second best running back on that team.
Right. Terrence Johnson is like very good as well. So I really don't like if the Browns if he's going to hold out.
Jerome 4. It's all good, man.
Yeah. Oh. I love the idea.
So he's the fourth. He's running back 4.
Oh, don't forget Demetric Felton.
He's running back 5.
He's running back 5. Oh my God.
He's not getting that contract from the Browns. Like it would be. I like Kareem Hunt. I like Kareem Hunt.
I like some of the Kareem Hunt songs.
He does not need that.
Dude, contract. They paid Nick Chubb. They'll have whoever is running back too.
Bro, and they paid Nick Chubb like $8 million a year. Like Kareem Hunt, you're not getting.
It's a very easy trade.
If Nick Chubb isn't getting double digits, like you're gone. Like, I'm sorry.
Isn't he though?
No, it's $8 million a year. 4 years, $8 million a year, $32 million.
Oh man, I thought it was 12 over 3. But yeah, I've got the Eagles at 4. I agree with a lot of that stuff. Maybe I'm just not as bold as you. I got the Packers at 3. Josiah DeGuara is actually going to be their best receiver. I will know. I am DeGuara's strongest soldier, and maybe only soldier, frankly. But one day, I see the concerns with them, but I'm not as worried about the offensive line because I think they'll eventually get healthy.
I mean, that's kind of
Alan Lazard is a Hall of Fame receiver. Aaron Rodgers says so.
What?
That's got to be true.
It is $12 million a year.
It is? I thought it was 8.
It's 12.
It's 12.
It's 36 over 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, am I stupid? That's crazy.
Average annual salary of $12 million a year. $20 million guaranteed, though. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
but no, Kareem Hunt is not getting money. I wouldn't pay it if I was the Browns. I have the Bucks at 2. Yeah. Their division sucks.
Good. Yeah.
They got 4 free wins on the schedule, and I haven't even looked at it. Pretty much same stuff. And then at number 1, I got the 49ers. Yeah. I think that roster is ridiculously stacked, and I think that Lance is going to come in and be really great and open things up. I'm a big believer in dual threat quarterback, big arm, equal good.
Yeah.
And the number of ways they're going to be able to challenge offenses is going to be, or defenses, is going to be nuts. So
yeah, it's like imagine if Lamar came in and instead of having like Hollywood Brown as his number 1 receiver, they had like Debo.
And it's like, and then now that they've got Debo back, they're just loaded, dude. That roster is just loaded.
Yeah, it's sick. I've got them as the 2 seed. I've got the Buccaneers at the 1. I think
valid.
that top to bottom, the Buccaneers have the best roster. I've got the Eagles at 3. And then I've got the Vikings at 4. I have the Vikings winning the division. I think that the marriage of Kirk and Jefferson in this kind of Ramsey offense, I think that Jefferson, if you're going to put him in the slot like they did with Kupp, like put your best wide receiver in the cup, or in the slot, in the cup. Jefferson played like he was LSU's Kupp when he was in college. It was Chase on the outside, and then who was the other guy? Was it Terrace Marshall maybe on the other side? And then Jefferson was the slot dude, and he was like, well, can he win on the outside? That was the whole discussion about them. Kupp and Jefferson are about the same size. I think that we're going to see a lot of slot Jefferson this year, and I think he's going to put up monster numbers. Kirk is a quarterback who can't really create outside of structure, but the offense that he's playing in is like the ultimate structured offense, right? Like it's kind of playing through the scheme more so than a lot of other ones. So I think that he's going to excel in that scheme. You've got the skill position talent. I think that Zadarius Smith is still very good. Danielle Hunter had 6 sacks in 7 games last year. I think that he's still going to be really good. People forget about how good that edge rushing duo is because of the recent injuries, but
love to know.
I like him a lot. Lewis Seen, if he can be good right away, if Andrew Booth, who I'm pretty high on, like I think they've got some good rookies, like to their draft. I worry a little bit about the offensive line as usual, but they had an efficient offense even last year with that bad offensive line. This year, I think the offense could be even more efficient. The defense is really what sold. And this year, I think the defense will be a little bit healthier. And even though I have a lot of respect for Zimmer as a defensive play caller, I do think that the defense this year will be a little healthier, a little better. And just kind of the vibes in the building will be a little bit better. It kind of seemed like Zimmer was kind of a grumpy old man crimping everybody's vibe last year. I think this year it'll be a little bit more cohesive. So I've got the Vikings winning this division. And yes, if I'd be happy to be wrong and have the Packers do it. But I picked the Packers to win the division last year and earlier. I just really worry about a team whose best wide receiver could be, Alan Lazard or Romeo Doubs, or it doesn't have.
Hey,
who knows when Bakhtiari and Jenkins will be back.
I didn't predict the Browns to make the playoffs. I think that's the first time I've ever done that in my life.
Desperate. That's how we know we're living in darker days in Browns history.
Yeah, it's tough out.
So yeah,
that's the NFL playoff picture. So
I agree.
Nothing is going to go against what we say because we're always
exactly
right.
All of our predictions will happen, even the ones
that are like
each other.
Yeah, the Packers are going to be the 4 seed and the 7 seed at the same time. With all of our predictions being said, they're all going to come true. But we're going to give our Super Bowl predictions. But before that, Theo would like to tell you about a good friend of ours.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Odds Trader. For play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking, Odds Trader is the place to go. They have the best price on every game and sign-up offers from multiple sports books. Plus, they have player statistics, key game stats, and even projected game day weather. You can use their bet tracker to keep records of all your games and betting activity. OddsTrader.com is the #1 site for all your game day bets. To begin your handicapping journey, make sure to go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader is the beginning of your best bets for all sports. Download from the App Store today. Whew, that was a bar
Beautiful.
right there.
Beautiful, Theo. You should go. You should be like a voice actor.
I should hit my line.
But
I think everybody knows
Super Bowl
my
predictions.
yeah. I already gave
What
mine,
is
and
your
it's also
Super Bowl
just
pick?
both. It's also just both of my 1 seeds.
Well, it's
I think
I mean, that makes sense. So what? It's
it makes
Bucks,
sense because
Chargers.
Yeah, it's Bucks Chargers. Like if I'm going to project them to be the best team in each conference and get the benefit of the bye week, they're my Super Bowl. Like I'm not going to predict a team to be better than them in the playoffs all of a sudden. So it's the 1 seeds for me. It's the Chargers and the Buccaneers. I think they've got the best rosters from top to bottom. They've got the quarterbacks. They've got edge rushers. They've got, a good enough secondary. They've got, everything you need. They've got good, well coached for the Chargers. I think the jury is still out a little bit. These would both be,
They go for it on
years.
4th down so much.
I do like that though. I do think that's
too.
a good idea. So I do think that they'll be decent. I do worry a little bit more about the coaching on the Chargers than the Buccaneers. But yeah, I think roster wise, those are the two best teams for me. Quarterbacks on cheaper deals. You love to see that when you're predicting a Super Bowl team. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Nice. Matt, where you?
I
assume you have the Bills.
Of course. Think about them, man. They're incredibly due at the moment.
Plus, they're just the Panthers. They're the 2015 Panthers still.
That team is also loaded, in my opinion. I think they're loaded. And I'm just a big Josh Allen believer. I think tough way to go out last year, but they could have very well won the Super Bowl if that Chiefs game didn't turn out the way it did. And then I've got the Buccaneers on the other side. I had them as the 2 seed. I have them winning, which I guess is a little dumb, but I don't know. I guess I'm betting against like a first-time starter coming in and winning the Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl, and I've got Tom Brady. So,
well, the 1 seed in the NFC hasn't won the Super Bowl in a while because the 1 seed in the NFC is always the Green Bay Packers. So it's not this.
Your team is just the 1 seed.
The 1 seed
so much.
I'm glad to be. It could be worse. But
we're going on like year 5 of a 5-win Panthers team.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's worse than what you guys have had to deal with, but I'm just saying the 1 seed. Trust me, the 1 seed doesn't win every year. It could be worse, but I'll say the 1 seed. The 1 seed. The Buccaneers can beat the 1 seed on the way to the Super Bowl. All
I'm saying is you didn't cry because your team won a game. But in all seriousness, yeah, Packers could have it much worse. But it is what it is. The Browns have had their fair share of pain. My Super Bowl is I think I'm also going to go with the Bills. But I can't decide between the 49ers and Eagles.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles, man. It's your brand.
You got to go Eagles,
man. I got to go. All right. You're right. You
think that they're a super team and Jalen Hurts is going to be an MVP candidate, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to. But I also think Trey Lance is like that too. So like,
just go Eagles, man. Because if you're right, it's gonna be so awesome.
Yeah, Bills, Eagles. They're gonna go to the Super Bowl. I do think like the Bills are probably the better team there.
Josh Allen, man.
Their front seven, Ed Oliver is like crazy good. This is what I've realized these past couple of weeks is like,
bro,
Ed
the Bills
Oliver
are
is
stacked,
really good.
like top to bottom. Like they had the best defense in the NFL last year, and it got better. What? Has that ever happened? Like, has that?
It'll happen with the Packers this year and next year.
I'm just trying to like think about even like the Legion of Boom. Did the Legion of Boom ever have the number 1 defense and then get better next year?
I can't say I remember.
I don't remember that. I was like 12.
I guess. Fair enough.
I definitely think, there was a season where they peaked. But yeah, no, on paper. I would also say that the Bills defense last year was not even in the stratosphere of where the Legion of Boom was, but they were
fair.
They were one of the top performing defenses until about 13 seconds left in the divisional round.
When Tyreek Hill decided that their fate was sealed.
Yeah, the last 2 minutes there, they were not. Legion of Boom would not let that shit go down.
Yeah, that's
all I gotta say.
Neither would the 2015 Broncos. But
yeah,
it is what it is. So those are our Super Bowl picks. Yeah. Anything else? Or should I let you guys go and enjoy your beautiful Sundays?
You always say that, like, we'll give you some time back. Like this is a meeting now.
Okay, you guys forget.
Well, I think that about does it for us today, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
You guys forget that I work in like a corporate. I work in like a corporate like software job.
And you forget I'm not corporate at all.
You literally have corporate spawn hour.
That's the gag. It's like, how does someone who is not corporate at all have an account named corporate? That's too funny.
It is funny. But as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll be back with some more content. And as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.